Hi, it's Shell
and Diva
from the Journey to Freedom. Today we're making a batch of our homemade soap that we make fairly regularly. We like to make our own soap because it reduces our plastic waste. We were previously using 2 or 3 bottles of shower gel a week, so it's a lot of plastic waste. Also because we can put whatever smells in it we like, we can put whatever colours in we like, we can put flowers in it, we can completely customise it to what we want. We can also we know what's going in it, we know what chemicals are in it, we know what we're putting on our body, we know what we're putting on our skin. So there's a lot of reasons why we make our own soaps, but we thought we'd make a little video and show you how we do that in case you wanted to join in. So let's get on with it. So the first stage of making our soap is we need to make a lye solution, and we're going to do that by mixing sodium hydroxide with water, which produces a lye solution. But just a word of warning, lye is quite caustic. It will burn your skin, it releases a gas which can be quite nippy in your eyes, it can inhibit your breathing, so make sure you're somewhere well ventilated. We're in our conservatory, all our windows are open, our doors open. But do wear protection, wear gloves, wear glasses and wear a mask if you've got any breathing problems. And like I said, make sure you're somewhere well ventilated, it's really important. I'd also recommend having a small glass of vinegar nearby. Lye is highly alkaline, so if you do get it on your skin, the best thing you can do is put something acidic on it to counteract that. So I always keep a little bit of vinegar nearby, just in case we splash ourselves. It's never come up so far, but better safe than sorry. So as I said, masks and glasses if you need them, definitely gloves. So let's do it. We've got our gloves on, Eva's got our mask and our glasses on to protect our lungs and our face. Now we're going to get started with making our lye solution. So we have our water here. We've already measured this out. We've got 199 grams of water. We're doing everything in grams, not rather than volume. It just makes it easier if you're using the same measurement base for everything. So into our 99 grams of water, we need to add 133 grams of caustic soda. So we're going to weigh that out. Remember, interior scale. So we're going for 133 grams. More. Try and be quite precise with your measurements. It's quite important with soap making that you get everything as close as possible. Tiny bit more. Perfect. So we're going to get the lid back on this and get this out the way before we start chucking water about. So now we're going to mix this in with our water. It's quite important to always pour your sodium hydroxide into your water. Never put your water into the sodium hydroxide. It'll react quite badly, it'll foam up, it'll get everywhere. You're much better putting the sodium hydroxide into your water. We're just using a Tupperware dish. It does get quite hot, so do use something that can handle a little bit of heat. When it thermal reacts and it heats up quite a lot. We like to use something that's got quite a big surface area because it helps it cool down quicker. So you're just going to very, very slowly pour this in while I stir it. You just want to dissolve this into your water. It dissolves quite quickly and your water is going to go quite cloudy, which is fine. A gas will come up off it, just to be aware of that. And that's why it's important to be somewhere quite ventilated. I don't know if you can see that, the gas is already raising up off it. And just stir it slowly. It's also quite important not to use any metal. I use plastic and wooden stirrer, or you can use glass, but it can react strangely with different metals. You just want to stir this for a few minutes to make sure it's all dissolved. Get as much out as possible. Just want to give it a few minutes of stirring. It'll start to turn clearer, and that's kind of what we want. There we go, it's all fully dissolved, it's starting to clarify, it's extremely hot. So what you want to do now is put this out the way somewhere, well away from any pets, any children, that's up high or closed away somewhere, and leave it for a couple of hours to cool right down to room temperature. You can use it when it's warm, but it will make your mixture solidify quite quickly, so we prefer to let it go cool so we've got a little bit more time to work with it. So that's that. We're going to leave that for a couple of hours and then we're going to come back and get on with the next stage. Hi guys, so we're back. Our lye solution has cleared up a bit. It's been sitting for a few hours now. It's cooled down. So now we need to mix the next component to soap, which is your fat or your oil. We're using 950 grams of olive oil and 50 grams of coconut oil. So we're going to weigh that out just now. And don't forget to tear your scale. 950, I'll tell you when we're there. All of that one. We're using a bit of coconut oil, but I never use too much coconut oil. It can be quite drying. All that one in. And the measurements I'm giving you, I mean, you can use a variety of oils for making soap, the hundreds of different oils you can use, but the measurements I'm giving you with lye and the oils are specifically balanced for these oils, so don't just substitute oils. You really need to balance the amount of lye against the amount of fat so that they emulsify together. If you... Stop. Can you see?
Yeah.
Okay, 950. You need to recalculate it if you're using different oils because they emulsify differently. They might need a different amount of lye. I'll leave a link for a really handy calculator down below, but if you need a hand calculating the weights for your soap, just give me a comment down below or drop me a message or an email. I'm more than happy to give you a hand with that. There's also factors like super fatting. Some people like to put extra oil in so that there's excess oil that's not been absorbed by the lye. That's a whole other thing, but just with simple soap making you need to make sure there's enough oil to emulsify your lye. You don't want excess lye. Okay, now we've got our 950 grams of olive oil. Now we're going to add 50 grams. It's probably going to be about half of that, but pour it out slowly because we want this to reach 1,000. Of olive oil, of coconut oil, sorry. And this is just pure virgin coconut oil, nothing fancy. little tiny bit over, but we're fine. So now we're going to give that a good mix. Mix all our oils up. Get rid of this. Now what we add to this is our lye solution, and that makes soap. But if you want to add any scents, colours, any botanicals, clays, anything like that, I tend to do it at this point before I add my lye. You don't have to do any of that, you can just make soap just as it is and it's perfectly fine. But what we're adding is, that's the coconut oil, is 25 grams of lavender oil. It smells incredible, it's been sitting here in the whole room, it smells so strongly of it. So I'll just slowly add that in just now, I'll leave it stirring. Beautiful. And I'm just using Lavender True. I'll leave a link for this. I'll leave a link for all my ingredients down below for you. I don't know how well you can see that, but I will leave links down below for everything I'm using. And something else we're trying today is dyes. I've not tried using liquid dye in soap before, so I don't know how well this is going to go. I previously tried like mica powders and stuff, which give great results, but we thought we'd give this a little go. So we're making lavender soap obviously, so we're going to add a little bit purple dye. We'll start with a wee bit and see how it goes. Not mixing very well, but possibly once it starts to emulsify it'll mix a bit better. I think they're maybe water based, which is possibly the problem. Okay, I think all our oils are mixed quite well just now, so what we're going to do is slowly add our lye solution while stirring. This is still quite caustic, it's not hot anymore, but you still don't really want this on your skin, so it shouldn't be giving off any fumes or anything, but you know, avoid getting on your skin and still have your little glass of vinegar or your little decanter of vinegar handy, just in case it gets on your skin. We're going very slowly, very carefully pour this in. Neva's going to give that a little mix while I go and get our blender ready. So I just use the stick blender. I just keep this blender specifically for this. I just got this really cheap one. I'll leave a link with that as well. Give us a basic mix up, and then what you're looking to do. Now, a few tips. Once you put your stick blender in here, keep it below the surface. Don't lift it up, because that's when you get splatters. You don't really want this splatter. You're just going to hold the bowl for me. And what I tend to do is pulse it and then stir. Pulse and then stir. And what you're looking for is this to turn, it changes to a really milky, thick consistency. And we're going to keep doing this, it'll take a few minutes, but what we're looking for is a trace. And a trace is when you lift the blender and let it drip onto the surface, it leaves tracings, it leaves marks. So I'm going to bring you a bit closer and let you have a look. Sorry for the rubbishy light, but as you can see, it's quite a dark colour just now, and when I start blending it's going to start to turn quite a light colour. So pulse and stir. As you can see, it's already turning lighter. Quick pulse, bit of a stir. And as I said earlier, if you start this process when your lye solution is still warm, it will go quicker. So you want to just get your trace and no more. You don't want to go too far past it, or it can become quite tricky to work with. Our dye's not really worked very well. I think we'll stick to the mica powders next time. So we're just going to take this out and check for a trace. I don't know if you'll be able to see. We're not quite there yet. It smells absolutely amazing. I cannot wait for this one to be ready so I can try it. Check again. Yeah, we're getting a bit of a trace now. I don't know how well you can see as the light in here is terrible. But when you lift it up and move it around, it leaves a trace of the drips on it. You can see them on the surface, so that means we're ready. So let's decant it into our container now. So we've got our, I use a little, I like to use silicone moulds because they're easier to get the soap out, but you can use anything really. You can use a cardboard box if you line it, but I like these ones and they're in a little wooden container and they're quite cheap. I've not used this size before, so I've kind of estimated that this is going to fit, but I think it's maybe a little bit much. But you can fill this and then you can put the excess into any container. So Eva's going to pour this in very carefully. It's already getting quite thick, as you can see. But once it starts to go, it does start to go quite quickly. Oh, this is maybe going to fit pretty perfectly actually. Yeah, it's worked quite well. Yeah, this has went really quickly. I'm probably over mixed it slightly with the mixer. So it's quite thick, but it's all good. We're in there. I'm just going to flatten this out. Eva's going to grab me a towel. It's quite, you can do whatever you like at the top. You can flatten it all out really level if you want just a flat surface. You can make little, I quite like to make little swirly patterns in it. That looks quite pretty. And you can also decorate the top with like botanicals or things like that of your choice. So we're going to put we've got some nice dried lavender flowers. I'll sprinkle some on top. We're going to decorate the top of our soap with that. Looks quite pretty. Works quite well because it's lavender soap. Gives it just that little extra bit of lavenderiness. Just with this being a wee bit set, I'm just going to tamper them in very, very slightly just to make sure they adhere. When it dries, I don't want them all falling off. That should do. It's quite nice. And was there a little bit of cardboard over there? I think that looks pretty good. So as I mentioned earlier, it was grabbing me a towel. Because we need to keep, now need to keep your soap warm while it processes. It'll go through a gel stage and then it'll solidify. 24 hours is always more than enough, so I leave mine for 24 hours just to go through that process of hardening. So I'm going to leave that until tomorrow, and then hopefully it hardens up overnight and we'll come back and have a look. While it's hardening, you do want to keep it warm. I wrap mine in a towel. Is the best way to keep it toasty. So, and if you're anywhere particularly cold, you might want to wrap a wool blanket around it as well. I also have a little bit of cardboard on the top, just to stop the towel going into it, really, and to keep the top of it clean. I just find that the best way to keep it warm, and I take it straight in the living room where the stove is, where the wood burner is. Just keeps it extra warm. There we go. This old towel handy for keeping soap warm with. There we go. Simple as that. So wrap it up, if you're somewhere really cold, wrap it in a blanket, pop it away somewhere relatively warm for about 24 hours, and then we'll come back and have a look at it then. Hi guys, so it's been about 18-ish hours. Our soap is now totally set. As you can see, it's completely hard. So the next stage is, I'm going to pop it out of here. She says. I can just get a hold of it. There we go. Pop out its box. And just gently loosen the sides away. You get little bits crumbling or stuck to the side of it, that's fine. And we just want to gently ease it out of the mould. Sometimes it's easier just to invert it. This bit just takes a little bit of finagling just to loosen it. You don't want to, it's still quite soft at this point, so you don't want to break it or. There we go. Just get washed for next time. Wow, it smells absolutely amazing. Just put these little crumbs back in here. Now it's obviously I'm handling it without gloves now. It's no longer very caustic, but you don't want to use this until it's completely cured. Just to make sure the saponification process is completely finished. The lyes all sort of absorbed into the fats. So you do want to leave this for a minimum of 4 weeks. Some people like to leave them for as long as 6 months. It's really just a personal preference. But for storage, I tend to cut it into bars first. It just dries out a bit better when it's in smaller segments. I use this, it's actually a dough scraper, but I don't really use it for bread, so I've repurposed it. I think I probably want to try and get 10 bars out of this, but let's see how we go. And it's still nice and soft at this point, so it cuts really easily. About 18 hours is a good amount of time to wait. It's still soft enough to be cuttable, but it's hard enough to not crumble completely when you do. So I'll finish that one up later. So how I store it for the curing during the curing process is I just use a wire rack. It just lets the air get under it, over it, around it. I've got some soaps we made earlier in the week here. This is actually patchouli soap. It smells absolutely amazing. Really recommend that. If you want the measurements for that one, just let me know and I'll provide them for you. Beautiful. I think you're struggling for room on this rack. So what I do is I place them on a rack. I then put the whole rack into a cardboard box and seal it up, just really to keep the dust and stuff off it while it cures. I keep it somewhere, try to keep it somewhere medium temperature, you know, somewhere that's not going to get too hot or too cold, there's going to have any extreme changes in temperature, just to let it cure properly. My spare room, I generally just pop it away in the spare room, shut the box up, leave it for about, I tend to leave it for about 6-ish weeks before I start using it, and by the time I get through using the last bars, they're obviously much older. So that's quite a good way to see how you like your soap. You might prefer it when it's more aged, and you might decide to leave the next batch for a bit longer. But yeah, minimum 4 to 6 weeks before you start using these. So that's my soap process. If you do anything differently, or if you've got any suggestions for me, or any questions, or if you want to use different oils and you want help working out the lye levels and stuff, just drop me a comment below or message me, and I'd love to hear from you. But thanks for joining us again, guys.